I arrived on this trip yesterday, but I've been here many, many times. So, I'm a big fan of the country, and hence why it was chosen to be a start location this year. Back in 2014, when my wife and I got married, we came here on our honeymoon, sometime in Ho Chi Minh City, and then to Hoi An.
All right, the first question, so what's inspired of the creation of Gumball 3000 and how it's involved to the global phenomenon it is today?
Gumball came about really from my a result of my background, particularly the 1990s era for me, sort of growing up. My 20s, I was sort of heavily involved in the fashion industry, both as a designer and a model. I raced cars in different sports car championships, so I was traveling around the world through fashion and racing, and really getting some great friendships and contacts in all those industries, and very lucky to be sort of invited to lots of the sort of let's say the cool fashion parties of the time, and became friends with a few people that were sort of famous in the industry, and then that extended into the sort of maybe friends in the sort of music and the film and TV world as well. So when I started Gumball, for me it was about bringing all those friends together and creating sort of an experience and a brand that all my friends could enjoy. And so the sort of that concept sort of evolved very quickly. Media picked up on it in the UK where we're based, and it sort of started to take on a high profile. But the premise of kind of bringing people together from music, film, fashion, sport, and creating this sort of incredible journey is still the same concept that we have today, 25 years later.
So what unique and distinct experience do you hope that Gumball 3000 will bring to the people of Vietnam?
Well, I think it's the first time bringing Gumball here, so there's sort of two sides to the event really. I think there's 120 cars participate. People have flown in to take part from all over the world. There's over 40 different nationalities. So, and that's sort of approximately, let's say, with media entourage and sponsors and so on, that's probably about 500 people flying in that are participating in the rally. And I think, one part of what we're creating is to give them an incredible experience. And so what we do in Vietnam and what we do in Ho Chi Minh City is really important to kind of curate that experience and leave people kind of, most people might have been here, but not everyone.
Yeah.
So, if people are coming here for the first time, they're only here for a few days before the rally starts. We just want to make the experience incredible. And then the other side of the event is really about the sort of the appeal and the access the public have. And Gumball is about making public event, and so it's free for everyone to attend, and it appeals to people that are obviously across fans of cars, but also fans of the celebrities, fans of music, influencers, YouTubers, all the people that are coming down, coming and participating. Hopefully the public here can enjoy.
So can you share a little bit about supercar that participating in this journey? Any special car that you can review this time?
What we try and do every year is sort of, with the 120 cars that take part, it's always a fixed number. It's about the optimum number where it's a large enough group of cars that wherever we're going, there's enough for everyone to see. But it's a small enough group of people that throughout the week of the event, everyone can, connect and get to know each other. So of that grid, it's sort of, we have about 20, it's sort of 20% hypercars, 20% supercars, and then sort of luxury, and then modified and custom and vintage. So it's really about sort of everything. I think the oldest cars we have in this rally are sort of 1960s American muscle cars, and then we've got some really cool cars from the 70s, like original Porsche 911 RS from about 1973. But then sort of right the way to today, we've got Pagani, Huayra, BC, we've got a few Koenigsegg's, we've got several Bugattis. All of those sort of hypercars are coming from all around the world. They're being flown in.
That's awesome. That's awesome to know. So beyond the rally, so what does Gumball 3000 lifestyle represent to you, and how do you see it resonating with the global audience?
Yeah, I think touching on points that I've already mentioned, really, it's become a lifestyle brand now for the last sort of 2 decades that really, celebrates sort of the popular cultures, the music, cars, fashion, sort of communities, and hence why it's very different to any other car rallies. Also because of the participants, we've got rappers, DJs, YouTubers that are all really excited to be part of this, and many of those are, of course, really, big car fans.
Yeah.
But actually, we appeal to people that would never normally do a car rally as well.
Mm-hmm.
They maybe just are there because of what Gumball has created in terms of being this very unique, experience and adventure. So yeah, it's great.
So can you share the most memorable moment of your previous journeys?
Many incredible, memorable moments over the years. 24 years of the rallies so far, and every rally is unique, and it's always a different route. It always has some incredible experiences. But I think if I were to pick one or two, they're for different reasons really, but I'd say 2008 Gumball was very, very kind of pioneering. The rally started that year in San Francisco, and the format of the rally is always the same. It's a weekend to weekend. It's sort of 6 days of driving and events every day, every evening, parties and music concerts and such. But that year's rally started in San Fran, drove to Los Angeles, to Las Vegas, and then we flew everyone, the entire entourage of cars and people, and landed in Pyongyang in North Korea, and had 24 hours in North Korea. We put on a big sort of music, cultural event in Pyongyang that night, and then the next day the rally continued into China, and we crossed the finish line at the Beijing Olympics. So from a logistic standpoint, and like I said, a sort of groundbreaking adventure to incorporate, the United States and North Korea and finish at the Olympic Games in 1 week. You can imagine the experience that everybody had that was on that one.
So what challenge do you anticipate facing on this journey, particular in Vietnam?
Well, I think there's always challenges, because that's part of what we take on and then embrace, about being, about taking the event to all corners of the world, really. So I think the challenges really kind of have come because the scale of the event has increased every year almost, So from the early years where maybe sort of a handful of people, a few, friends and family would sort of wave the cars off and watch them arrive into into each city. Now in some of the biggest events we've put on over the years, we've had 1 million people attend. And so, it's like putting on the most enormous festival that exists, putting it on every night in a different country or a different city for a week. And so that, poses a lot of challenges to work with the city, work with the governments, get everyone's support, get the right permits. And if it's a city that we haven't done it in before, then it's all new.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges, just because of those logistics. But I think here in Vietnam, I think the start will be fantastic.
Can you describe the Gumball 3000 in 3 or 5 words?
3 or 5. I would say, let's say spectacular journey, groundbreaking, and let's say, really for me, it's about uniting people.
Uniting people. It's awesome. And the last question, I know that you have a car collection. So among your collection, so what's your favorite car?
I think one of my favorite cars is one I brought out for Gumball a couple of times. I don't use it too often on the road every day, but I've got a very rare 1993 Jaguar XJ220 that is a special sort of carbon fiber edition. It's the XJ220S. There's about 6 of them in the world. So, and at the time when it was built, it was the world's fastest supercar. So it was kind of almost about the first of the sort of the hypercars. So whenever I take that out, wherever it goes, then a crowd of people kind of gather around it, because they haven't seen one. It's very, very rare to see one ever driving on the street. So I think that has to be a favorite.